I got a package. This is from Toulouse. Let's see what this is. It is a beautiful postcard of the center of Toulouse from Francois. French people really know how to wrap a package. Okay. Hi Christian, as promised, here are a few French specialties. Okay, let's have a look here. We've got a beautiful knife. Look at this. Wow. God, look at this biscuit. Would you look at this thing? It's like a work of art. And French mustard. Crème de marron de l'Ardèche. I think this is chestnut paste. Wow. Wow, artisanal beer. Blanche and an ambré, a white beer and a brown beer. Francois, you are a scholar and a gentleman. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I have the best students in the world. The best students in the world. Hello and welcome to Kangaroo English. I'm Christian, and today I am going to teach you the secret to understanding when to use verbs in the gerund and when to use verbs in the infinitive. Verbs in gerund and infinitive is one of those really frustrating things in English, and the normal way to teach it is to give the student a list to memorize. This verb is with gerund, this verb is with infinitive, this verb is with both. Now, let me tell you how I feel about this method. There are two problems with using a list. The first problem is that it's just not an efficient way to learn. It's very difficult to memorize and remember verbs on a list. But the second problem for me is the biggest. Using a list doesn't help you to understand why. Language is never an accident. It is the result of a process of evolution. And there is actually a reason why we use some verbs with gerund and some verbs with infinitive. And if you understand the reason why, suddenly using the correct verb becomes super simple. Before we start, there's something really important to understand. The to is not actually part of the infinitive in English. The to is something that we add to create an effect. In English grammar, there are two ways to talk about time: tense and aspect. Tense tells us where the action is located in time, and aspect tells us how we experience that time. In this example sentence, I will be studying English. Will indicates that the action is happening in the future, and studying in the progressive aspect tells us that we are experiencing this as an action in progress. So we could draw it something like this, and we are here in the future, in the middle of this action in progress. Now let's talk about to and what it really means. To talks about movement from one place to another. But not just physical movement, also abstract movement. For example, if we are here in the present, to talks about moving away from the present and into the future. It also talks about moving away from present reality and into our imagination. So when you use a verb with to, then you are talking about an action that will happen in the future, or an action that will happen away from reality in your imagination. Now the gerund. The gerund indicates the continuous or progressive aspect. When you use to, you think about time as a distant point. But with the gerund, we view time as something in progress, a duration. And when you use verbs in the gerund, then you are indicating an ongoing process or something which is in progress at that time. Now let's look at two examples: enjoy and want. The verb enjoy is always with the gerund because to enjoy something, you must be doing it. And the verb want is always with to, because if you want something, then you don't have it now in the present. You hope to have it in the future or in your imagination. Now let's look at a verb which seems to break this rule. Like. You can use like with the gerund or with to, and there doesn't seem to be any difference in meaning. But studies have shown us that when native speakers talk in general about liking something, they use the gerund. But when they are asked to visualize doing something in a specific circumstance, when they are using their imagination, then they automatically start to use to. Now let's look at another verb which normally causes a lot of problems. Stop. Because you can use stop with to or with the gerund. But understanding that to indicates the future and ing indicates the action in progress makes it really easy to understand. Here, you stopped because you would eat the pizza in the future. But here you can see that you were eating the pizza at that moment and you stopped. But what about this? I saw the man playing. I saw the man play. Here we don't have to or a gerund. So what is this? Well, this is the progressive aspect. And here, when we use the bare infinitive, it is another type of aspect. The progressive allows us to enter the action which is in progress. But the infinitive aspect allows us to stand back and look at the action as one completed moment in time. So the difference is that I saw the man playing. I visualize myself in that moment watching him play. But when you say, I saw the man play, psychologically, you view that as a finished, complete moment. You don't transport yourself into it. And some verbs of experience in English allow you to do this. Well, I hope you found that class interesting. And I really hope that now you understand why and when to use the gerund and infinitive in English. If you would like to see any more classes about the English language, then don't forget to subscribe. I'm Christian, this is Kangaroo English. I'll see you in class.